Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am Abe with MysticGenMara.com, a small town mystic from the middle of Idaho. And tonight, whenever you happen to be seeing this, I would like to offer your monthly energy reading for April of 2026 for the elemental energy of fire. Fire covers the zodiac signs of Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. So if you are Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, or have fire high up in your chart, this message is for you. If you've never had your charts read, it's not a sponsored link, but you can check out, there's a natal chart link in the description. It's for Llewellyn's basic chart. It gives you your 12 houses with all little signs and symbols, and then there's 10 to 20 pages of a description of what all that means. Again, that's not sponsored, but you can check that out. We're going to start off with our I-ching, which I cast the hexagram before we started the video. And fire, you have number 54, the marriageable maiden. That sounds interesting. The text is, the marriageable maiden, advance brings misfortune. No goal or destination is favorable now. So really, we're getting this energy right off the bat that's saying, just kind of go with the flow this month. Don't force anything. Don't go chasing things that aren't necessary. Just kind of chill and see where things go for you. So our bottom line here, foundation, is the maiden marries and becomes a concubine. The lame can walk. To advance brings good fortune. And so this almost sounds like contradictory. Like it says to advance brings good fortune. Okay, that's yay. But the maiden marries and becomes a concubine. So this is really saying you are in a situation for convenience, because when the time this was written, having multiple spouses was not that big of a deal, and it was usually politically advantageous. And so you're really saying, yes, you're getting into a situation where you're going to be comfortable. It may not be exactly what you want, but you're going to be comfortable there. And the lame can walk, meaning a situation that you've been kind of dealing with has been resolved, and that's where you're going to be all right. It just may not show up the way you thought it would. So your second place line here is, the one-eyed man can see. Righteous persistence brings advantage to the recluse. So the one-eyed man is someone who may not be able to see everything fully clearly like you would like to be able to see it. It's that whole depth perception might be a little bit off there, unless you look to like Odin, who sacrificed an eye for wisdom, so there might be some of that going on too. Righteous persistence brings advantage to the recluse. Staying true to your values, staying true to the things that... Staying true to your core values, the things that you know are leading you in the right direction, is really going to be a positive for you. And the whole recluse thing is, even when you want to pull away, sticking true to what you know is right, you might actually find a better way around it and not have to deal with all those people anyway. So our third place line, our first broken line, from being a servant, the marriageable maiden becomes the concubine. And again, you were a servant, that means you weren't very high up, but being a concubine in a lot of these older cultures was a kind of a privilege. It may not be in full marriage, we get that, but it wasn't exactly evil either. It wasn't negative. There's a little footnote here. Let's see if I can find it with that teeny writing. It's an advance that is made, but nothing satisfying. So you're still moving in the right direction. It's not exactly what you want, but it's also encouraging because you're moving up in rank. That's kind of where we're going here. Our fourth place line, something just fell. Oh, you love it when things just start moving on their own. Our fourth place line, this one here, is, the maiden stays unwed beyond the proper time, but the day comes when she makes a late marriage. So if you choose not to get into this comfortable situation, which is really not what you're looking for, fire, you'll have other opportunities, but this is where you're at for the comfortable part. If you choose to decline this particular situation, this is where you'll stay unwed beyond the proper time, meaning you're missing opportunities. Even if they're minor, you're still missing them. The day will come when she makes a late marriage. And understanding more about this type of an era and the culture of what we're talking about here, this late marriage means you become more of a marriage for status, and it's not about being with that person. It could indicate, if we look at a Western mindset, that you found the right person. It might just be later in life, so there's a few things you might have to maybe not have as well as you would like, but you're going to have the loving partner. So again, take that as you will, but it's really saying if you miss opportunities, there's other options down the road. They may not be exactly what you're looking for. So our 5th place line: the emperor's second marriageable daughter wore regal garments less splendid than those of her bridesmaid. Close upon the full moon comes good fortune. How's that? The second marriageable daughter wore regal garments less splendid than those of her bridesmaid. That's actually a little bit surprising, because the emperor, especially in feudal Japan when this was kind of being written, if you were related to the emperor, you had to be the best of the best. So for the second marriageable daughter to wear less splendid robes than her bridesmaid is really saying that this princess showed better, the implication is that the princess showed better taste than her maid for not dressing over grandly. So you want to look good, but you don't have to be gaudy. Like, you're not bragging about everything that you've got, even though you might have more than you realize. And that's where they're coming up with this energy here is, yes, you're still elegant, you're still regal, you just aren't flaunting it in everyone else's faces. Those around you might be a little bit more pompous, and that's the word I keep hearing in my ear, is pompous. So you don't want to be like them. Let them be pompous and make goofs of themselves. That's not your place. And it says, close upon the full moon comes good fortune. So the full moon for April actually looks like it's going to be in that first week of April. So I haven't flipped calendars, obviously. So you're going to have some good fortune around that time. But it's also saying things are going to come to fruition. Full moons are generally when stuff manifests. It's a fruitful time. So there's a lot of positive going on here, even if it feels like it's just being slow and comforting. The top, our capstone, is a woman holds a basket with nothing inside. A man stabs a sheep without drawing blood. No goal or destination is favorable now. Really what we're hearing with this one is the woman holding the basket with nothing inside. You're ready to accept what is coming in. You're ready for the reward, but you're not actively out, feed me, with your little basket. And the man stabs a sheep without drawing blood. If you've ever been around sheep, their wool is really thick, and sometimes you can't get the knife in. And this is really saying it's not the right time for harvest. It's not the right time to make sacrifices. No goal or destination is favorable. Basically, where you're at right now is it's time just to take a break. It's time to go with the flow. Things may not be where you want them to be, and that is okay, fire. It's really about being okay with where you're at, because you're going to get somewhere better. But just like the maid holding the empty basket, you have to be ready when this next level comes, when this next opportunity arises. It's just not going to be in April, is what I'm hearing. So let's hop over to our tarot. And what do we got here? We've got about 4.5 weeks, so we'll do another 5 weeks spread for April. And how I like to do these readings, we look at a guide or guardian for each week. We look at a message from source, a positive affirmation, or some supporting words, and then we look at a little more information from the tarot. And I read the weeks 1, 2, 3, 4. If they happen to fall in a different pattern, that's great, because Spirit brings in the messages. I am just here to give them to you. Also, if you see something different in the cards, feel free to comment down below and let me know what you're seeing. I read intuitively, so it's always interesting to hear what other people have to say about the cards. And, do the usual like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And we'll get started with your first week's guide or guardian for April is number 25, the Philosopher. So your energy in this first week is reflective and contemplative. The energy that's coming in, you got a little Saturn going on here, so you got some of that more stern father figure energy that's holding your feet to the fire, so to speak. Like, it's time to really get clear on what it is you're wanting. You don't have a goal, you're not shooting that direction, but you are coming to this understanding of where you're at, where you're going, with the knowledge that you have. What are you missing? The philosopher comes in to remind us to think clearly and think deeply of the things that are important in our lives. And so this first week of April is really about you getting clear on where you're at in the moment, fire, where you're headed, and what's kind of your philosophy. We talk about the righteous path being your core values, your core beliefs, being ethical and moral in all things that you do, walking with integrity. And the philosopher is saying, define those things. Define integrity for you. Define core values for you. Define ethics for you. Define your morals for you. And that's what the philosopher wants you to get clear on this first week. It's not about traveling. It's not about moving around this week. It's about getting clear on who and where you are. And that allows you to figure out where you're headed in the long term, but you have to start somewhere, right? So your message from Source is the pearl, alchemy, the reward at the end, from grit to grace. This is really a call to be ready for when things happen. But the pearl is created through basically just showing up. And so that's what this energy is coming in here. The alchemy of life is changing things inside, and that will reflect outside. So if you get clear on where you're at inside, it's going to mirror what's happening outside your world. You're not going to change the world by trumpeting from the mountaintops, "You will change for me." That just won't work. But what does is going inside and figuring out, where am I at? What do I need? How can I change the inner vision within me that allows it to be manifest and mirrored in the outside world? Alchemy is about transformation and transmutation. And this is the energy that's coming in. The philosopher is telling you to look inside and figure out what's going on. The pearl is saying, when you're looking inside, you're not actively doing the work. The pearl is created through passive energy. It's not made through the oyster going, I am going to make a pearl today, so I will sweat and I will struggle and I will paint and I will paint. It's literally something that's irritating the poor critter, and it just covers it up naturally to make it go away. And that's where you're at, is you don't want to cover things up, but you want to take something that's irritating you and turn it into something that is magical, something that is beautiful, something that uplifts others and creates a much more powerful energy than just being a minor irritant. Your message from the tarot is number 18 in the major arcana, so this can apply for the entire month. Big life lesson energy here. We have the moon with Archangel Hanael. The opportunity to improve your plans, listen to your intuition for guidance, face your fears, grow stronger. This is a time for you, fire, to really get clear on things. The moon is just coming in to repeat what the philosopher and the pearl have already said. It's time to really reflect and look within. The moon is not about active, outward, projective energy. That's the sun. The moon is about reflective. It's looking inside, following your inner guidance and your intuition. You also may have some spirit guides and animals coming forward, because you got a little raccoon over here, you got a puppers over here. So you may have an animal that is coming forward, especially if you get dream visions. You might start noticing there's a specific animal that keeps popping up. That could be an indicator of a new guide coming in to support you in this mission. But this first week is really not giving a lot of, I have to go out and be active. It's more about, it's maybe do a little more reflection. We're not quite there to be active right now, fire, which is not usually how fire works. But this week in particular, fire, it's not about active running around. The I-ching said this entire month is not going to be hyperactive for you. It's reflective and going with the flow. So your first week is just setting you up for success. Your second week is number 11 with emergence. This is where the dragons that are coming in are saying it's time to show up. It's time to get out of your own way. It's time to open the door and allow things to happen. The first week was getting clear on what's going on inside. This week is where you get out of the way. And that is one of those things where we want to be in control. We want to hold tight to the oars ourselves. And Spirit is really saying, let things happen. When a chick hatches, it's not through the outward work. It's the inner work that does the job. Because if you help it from the outside, it actually damages the chicken. And that is a true statement. I've dealt with a lot of chickens in my life. Other people I know do. you usually have more problems if you don't let the chick just work their way out. That's what this energy is saying, is you've done the inner work, now allow it to work its own magic and project out. You don't want to get involved. You just want to let it, you want to be there if something, starts to go wrong. But for the most part, you're just letting it out. It's like you're letting it emerge. And the dragons that are coming in are saying, you're stronger than you realize, Fire. So this is really going to be an interesting trick for you, because you can fix this problem. You can make it happen. But that's not the right thing to do right now. It's best to let it birth itself on its own. And your message from Source is the clear waters, clear vision, confirmation, right timing, and opportunity are going to back that up. Because you have to do things in the right timing this month, or things could go a little squirrely. There's no energy that's coming in here right now that's saying it's going to go bad. You just might push things back a little bit. You might get that late marriage where what you wanted is delayed so far down the road that you're going to get a part of it, but not exactly what you're looking for. And the clear water is saying in the second week, allow this thing to come into fruition. Be clear with your intentions, but you don't have to be forceful. Let things happen in the way that Source and your soul have aligned it, and let them play it out. You're kind of an observer, and this is kind of a fun thing to observe. I have too short of a little desk here. I need to fix this. So let's take a peek at what the tarot has to say. You're also getting your first opportunity for an up level is going to come in the second week, is what I'm hearing. Again, we're not looking at things in an aggressive manner, because it's not going to be like, oh, world's going to be handed to me on a silver platter. No. The I-ching is like, you're going to get the steps, but it's going to go in a slower succession than what you normally would be achieving. But it's because it's time for you to rest and reflect, and then allow this energy to move forward. That's not the most comforting thing, I will say that, but that's what's coming in. Your message from the tarot is the Nine of Gabriel, so the Nine of Water, I believe. Stay determined and move forward. Be prepared for possibilities. So you're really getting ready. You're preparing. Again, you've got this energy where things are not quite finished. You're not quite done. But you're also seeing successes. They are just not going to be as big as what you thought. That's where you have to hold on to the determination. You have to hold on to this energy of, no, this is what I'm doing. I'm fixing in here. I'm doing all the inner stuff, because the outside world is going to start reflecting back to me what I'm working on inside. So this is a really strong internal work month, is what I'm seeing here. Not always the most pleasant thing in the world, but for Fire, this is what I'm hearing is necessary, and I think you know this deep down inside. It's just not something you wanted to admit. Let's see what our third week's guide or guardian is going to say. We have number 16, I believe, Grace. And Grace is bringing forward this energy of flow. When you're doing something graceful, it's because you've been there, you've done that, you know how to do it, you have the t-shirt. And now you're in that state where I don't have to think about this, it just happens. When you watch a professional dancer or you watch a figure skater, and you're like, wow, they're so graceful, they're so light. If you would have seen the last 5 years of their life, you would be like, ouch, that hurts. But when you get to the point where everything is you bringing it together because you know, that's where the grace shows up. And you also could be the grace of forgiveness, forgiving yourself, forgiving other people. There's a lot of different ways to look at grace. And grace in its purest sense, coming in for you, is allowing things to go in their most perfect state without force and without aggression. So Fire, the dragons that are coming in this week are really saying this is not your normal nature. This is an energy that you have been offered, that has been brought towards you to help you get more grounded in yourself and allowing your inner voice to come forth and allow your inner thoughts to manifest out, because it's time to do the inner work, which will reflect out. But to do so with force will not be graceful. To do so with peace is going to show grace. And that's when things are just going to happen and fall into place, and people around you are going to notice, oh, I cannot believe that Fire just had that happen to them. That is so amazing. It's like magic, or, it's a miracle, or whatever term. And you're going to be like, what? You're not even going to notice it, because it's such a subtle shift for you, because you've done the inner work and set it up. And the outside world is going to be like, where did that come from? because they don't see the process that you've been going through. And that's where those unique inner steps are coming into play. Your message from Source is the Healing Lagoon, rejuvenative, recovery, time to heal, and it's safe to stop. This is not a week of forcing. Just like the first week was a week of quietness and introspection, this is the same with this one. You're showing grace by not being active. You're showing grace by not running around, stressing over things that you have no control over. Don't worry about that stuff. It will fall into place when it's meant to. And this is what Source wants you to understand is sometimes it's necessary to run and push and really get things going. April, for our fire family, that's not going to be your thing. You're going to be way more chill. You're going to be, and it's not being lazy. You're just not pushing. And that's a huge difference. Your message from the tarot is the Three of Michael. Release the past. You will grow from the situation. Time heals all wounds. If there's something going on that has caused a little bit of distress because of this slowdown period, or when you're looking at that grace and you have to forgive, that may bring up some unpleasant or unresolved issues. And when that happens, Michael is here to help comfort to a certain extent, but also protect you while you process this. These are not easy things to sort through when we are looking at ourselves with grace. And I'm going to say this, you can disagree with me. When we watch others, it's easy to give them grace. Oh, maybe this is the first time. Maybe they don't understand it yet. Whatever. It's easy to give them grace. But when you look in the mirror and when you've screwed up, what is your first thought? Not so easy, is it? But that's where Michael can help us understand and process through that energy. And so this third week is, again, we're going back to the first week with the quietness, not a lot of action, as in the I-ching talking about the maid moving into the concubine state. There may be some uplifting happening. It may not be what you thought, but it's what you need. Key thought there. Your fourth week is number 17. Interesting. Actramus. We're going to go to the book on that one because I do not know. And I don't usually go with the books, but this particular book, there's quite a bit of interesting information there, so it sometimes is helpful. I'm probably guessing this is going to be something to do with the Arcturian angels as well, or spirit beings. We have connects with the Arcturian civilization, the peacekeepers of the galaxy. This beautiful dragon announces himself by stating, I am the dragon of the seventh golden ray, kin to the Atlanteans, who were the seventh dimensional but chose to work in fifth. So he is saying the time has come for you to begin integrating with higher golden ray energy and initiate the process of anchoring this frequency within your being. This will enable you to shift out of the lower three-dimensional energies and move into the higher states. So this angel acts like an angel. This particular dragon is really coming in to help you awaken to your higher awareness. Could be your higher self, it could be a higher consciousness of some form, but this is what this angel's coming in. And the reason that you've had a slower month in a lot of ways, you're still getting things done, it's just not as fast. The reason is it's time to uplift this spiritual side. You got your philosophy, you're getting clear on some things, you're letting it reflect out by emerging. The third week you were working with some grace, and now you're looking at how can you integrate all of this into a cohesive whole? And that's going to be a little bit of a challenge, but with this kind of energy coming in with this particular dragon, you'll notice that Peacekeeper was step one. So you're going to find your peace in this integration period, and then you're going to see the outcome start to really fall into place, because it's time for you to understand where you're going and where you're coming from. You have... I'm sorry, this reading is pretty interesting to me. Metamorphosis is your message from Source. Embracing transformation. Things are now different because it's time to change. You may have to go into a cocoon for a little bit with this Actramus and Metamorphosis energy, because the shift is occurring. It's not an outward thing. Again, you're not doing this in an aggressive, I'm going to conquer the world stage. It's more about, I'm going to understand myself. I'm going to show grace, forgiveness, and understanding to my inner child, to my inner world, and that is going to allow the outer world to reflect the new version of who I have become internally. Yeah, that's it. They just shut off the door at that point. So we'll see what happens with the tarot. And sometimes you'll notice that the guides will do that. They're like, here's your message, and then they'll just stop, and you're like, is there anything else coming in? No, that's where they drew the line. So this deck is usually really talkative, and it's being a little quiet today, so that could be a good thing. Your message from the tarot is the Five of Michaels. This situation doesn't serve you. Release your attachment to the outcome. Consider taking a more uplifting approach. Focus on uplifting energy. Work with your higher self, with your guides, your guardians. Maybe this week is a good week to really get more grounded in prayer and meditation. But this energy that's coming in is it's time to change. Metamorphosis, Octramus. It's reflecting up. It's reaching up. This is a week of growth, but not in... Again, they're not saying it's an outward thing. This is an inner work. So you're doing the work to project up. You're doing the work to reach to the heavens, because this is why where you're at's not serving you well. That's why things are moving a little bit slower. It's to help you get the inner clarity that you need to move into the next stage. Because to jump into the next stage without that inner clarity is really setting you up for failure. Because you're going to jump into it and be like, oh, whoa, this is not what I thought. So Source is giving you the opportunity to get clear before things really start to change. You're doing inner work, which causes a lot of change in its own world. The outer world will start to reflect that back to you, but you have to start inside and allow it to emerge out. And your fifth week's guide or guardian, and I love this card, is number 5 with peace. This month is about finding your peace. This last week is when you come to the realization of what you're actually meant to do, where you're actually supposed to be. This is where you are ready for the next step. You're at peace with yourself, which means you're at peace with the world around you. Your higher self, your guides, your guardians are all on the same page with you in this moment. And in this 5th week, take the time daily to meditate on this peaceful energy that you have acquired. And it may not even feel like it's peaceful in the moment, but meditate on it anyway. The dragons that are coming in this 5th week are really saying, we're going to show you what peace really means. And it doesn't mean that the world just stops moving. It means that you're more okay with things. You'll deal with it as it needs to, but you're not harried by it. You're not stressed by it. There's not this energy of, I'm just not good enough, and I have to fix this, and I have to. No. By the end of April, what I'm seeing here is a quieting of that driving, aggressive energy, which is interesting because Aries is in April. But it's not about the flashy, aggressive Aries. It's about banking that energy and allowing it to actually heat the house and not burn it down. So that's where we're at here. Your message from Source is the Well Maidens: kindness, respect, reverence, and compassion. When you find peace, these are the natural side effects. When you find peace, you don't feel like you need to be aggressive. You state your point, you walk away. You can do so with compassion when you correct people. It makes for a quieter, more joyful life in general. And the Well Maidens are coming in to remind you of this and support you in it. You might get frustrated, that's fine, but you can always reach out to Source, guides, angels, and ask for help and assistance. I'm feeling frustrated with this situation. How do I resolve it? And trust me, if you ask those questions, they will answer. Sometimes not in the way you would expect, but they do answer. So let's hop over to our tarot. That card leapt out of the deck, that's cool. And we have the Four of Ariel. When you give, you also receive. Being resistant to change, extremes in how to spend and save money. This is really the energy of being open to change. And it's not about being resistant. That's what they're wanting to remind you of. This is going to be an interesting month, and by the last week, this 5th week, it's going to start to reveal how things have changed for you. There may be a little bit of resistance still there. That's normal, that's humanity. But when you really get clear on how things are supposed to go, that resistance fades away. And that's what the Four of Ariel wants to remind you of, is you may feel times where you want to push back on this energy and do it yourself. That's fine. Remember, that's going to slow down future work. But when you find the peace and quiet within and you do the inner work this month, the outside world's going to reflect it, and it's going to be a lot less stressful. So with that, I will let you guys and gals go. Have a great month of April. It looks like you're going to. And I will see you in the next video.